Oh boy, I can't wait to get on Rec Room and work on Undertale VR. Fuck.
Here's what I think about that news. Face reveal, bitch. Why Rec Room? Why Rec Room? Why Rec Room? Why?
So, if you didn't know already, Rec Room is shutting down. At the time of writing this script, it will fully shut down on June 1st, but by the time this video comes out, it might have already shut down by now. I didn't start seriously getting into game development until I learned what Rec Room was, and because of that, Rec Room will always hold a special place in my heart. And yes, it's sad to see Rec Room go, but the truth is I was actually thinking about retiring from Rec Room for a while now. Don't get me wrong, I loved making games in Rec Room, but I always knew in the back of my mind that it would be temporary until I got the hardware needed to make actual games. And technically I don't exactly have good hardware yet. What I have will do for now, I suppose. So, from now on, I'll be working on becoming an actual game dev YouTuber, and I'll be working in Godot. If you don't know what Godot is, I'll give a brief explanation. Godot is an open source game development engine used to make both 2D and 3D games. It uses its own programming language called GDScript, which is a C-based language similar to Python. Unlike other game engines, Godot uses things called nodes, which are the main building blocks you'll use. These things include like camera functions, animated sprites, and on-screen touch inputs. Now, I do have some experience with Godot, but I am nowhere near an expert, and I've never made a finished project in it either, so that's what we're doing today. Or at least, starting a project, yeah. Well, without further ado, let's get into it. So, how does someone make a game? Well, first of all, you'll need to know how to code, and fortunately that is one of my main skills. However, I have not worked with GDScript in a while, and I needed some refreshers. If you ever want to learn how to make games in Godot, or anything else like Unity, or anything game development-wise, I would highly recommend watching Brackey's tutorials. I'll link both the videos I watched in the description. Brackey's videos are less like tutorials and more like crash courses for all things game development. And although I didn't do this myself, I have heard that GD Quest is pretty good as well, but like I said, I've never used it before. I've had an idea for a game for a while now, and I think that's what I'm going to be working towards. The game is called Underrooms, an Undertale and Backrooms hybrid fan game. I've had the idea for a while now, but I always figured it would be better as a real 2D game instead of a 3D VR game in Rec Room. Now, do I recommend starting on such a complicated foot? Hell no. If you want to get into game development, start small. Making simple Flappy Bird or Pong clones is an amazing way to get familiarized with the programming language and game engine, and slowly start making more complex games like 2D platformers or top-down shooters. Undertale is a very complex game with a lot of code that I couldn't even begin to understand at my experience level, so for today we're just going to start on the smaller stuff and work our way up. Obviously, this game is going to be in 2D, so we're going to start in a 2D scene and make some simple movements and a placeholder menu screen. Now, making top-down movement in Godot is actually surprisingly easy, and it only takes less than 20 lines of code. I started by making an input map and binding the arrow and WASD keys to their respective actions. Then all I did was use a placeholder sprite and voila, a simple top-down movement system. This will work for now, as making sprites is easily the most time-consuming and boring, in my opinion, part of game development. Now that we have a movement system, let's try making a start screen. Now, in Undertale, the game starts with this lore backstory, but we're not going to worry about that right now. For now, I'm just going to make a very simple menu with a few buttons. I'll admit I got a little stuck here for a moment because I was using a base node instead of a control node, so I had to reparent the child nodes to the control so it could be a root. I got the Undertale font off some free font website and made it the font for all of my labels. I tried to have the heart sprite be next to the menu selections, but it didn't work out, so I just scrapped that and kept the original menu system, where the one you're selecting will turn yellow. I also made a very bare bones title sprite for the menu, but this is just a placeholder for now, and I'll get a more detailed one at a later date. I coded the system so if you press the quit button, it will close the game, and if you press the start button, it will take you to the movement test. I did this by writing a bit of code to make each button have a different index integer, so start is 0, options is 1, and quit is 2. Depending on what you pick, it will change to a different scene. So start brings you to the movement test scene, and quit will just close the game. The options button doesn't do anything yet, but I'll program that at a later date. I also made a simple soul sprite and made that show up in the movement test instead of the base Godot logo thing. So now we have a semi-working main menu and a simple movement test for the soul. So let's make an overworld movement test as well. I made a simple level 0 tile set as a placeholder and made a small environment for you to move around in. I made the walls have physics so you collide into them instead of phasing through them, and I made another movement script, but this time I made the player a bit slower, and I made the camera follow you around. I also made the camera smooth out as you move and stop to give it a cleaner feel, but I might end up removing it. Let me know in the comments what you think. Now then, we have a simple main menu, a soul movement test, and an overworld movement test. And all of that took me about 4.5 hours to program, so I definitely have my work cut out for me. I do have a habit of getting burnt out, but I'll really try to work on this game consistently and try to make a video at least every 2 to 3 months. Game development takes a long time, and editing these videos isn't exactly fast either, but we'll see how this one does, and if it does well, I'll try and make more videos like this. That's gonna be about it for this video. I want to say thanks to Piskel.com, interesting name, for the Sprite Editor, and GameDeveloperStudio.com for the Tileset Editor. I'm actually doing everything you see in this video on a Chromebook, so you can imagine it's not exactly speedy, but these websites helped a ton, so I'll link those in the description as well. I'm really gonna miss Rec Room, but I'm also excited to open this new chapter in my YouTube journey. I've always wanted to become a full-time game developer, and even better if it was indie. However, because this is an Undertale fan game, I can't make a profit off it, so I'll just have to hope that this YouTube thing works out. Anywho, that's gonna be about it. I'll see y'all guys another time. See ya! Oh yeah, YouTube says you'll like this video, so if you wanna see if that claim is true, why not click it? I'd also appreciate if you subscribed and liked the video. Thanks!